Hello everyone, Cappy here. If you've been on Roblox for the past year or so, I'm sure you've seen a popular Roblox genre popping up recently, incrementals. If you didn't know, I've created an incremental of my own, Leaf Incremental, and today I'll show you how to make your very own incremental. Without further ado, let's get started. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is open up Roblox Studio, go to Templates, and then click on Base Plate. Once your base plate is loaded, we have to think of an incremental. For this incremental tutorial, I think we're going to go with something like Upgrade Incremental, an incremental that released about a week ago. Let's create a script to handle Leaderstats. Name it something like Leaderstats, and then paste this into the script, or write this into the script. If you need to write it down, then pause the video. But basically, what this script does so far is checks when the player has joined. Now what we want to do is create a variable called Leaderstats. Local Leaderstats equals instance.new folder. Then put leaderstats.parent equal to the player. So this means that all the currencies and its folder will be inside the player. Then once you've done that, do leaderstats.name equals leaderstats with a lowercase l. Now that we have the Leaderstats folder, we need to put some currencies inside that folder. So do local cash, or whatever you want to have your currency called, your main currency, instance.new. I'm going to do a number value, but you can do an int value as well. This number values allow you to do decimals, and we may interfere with decimals in the future. So let's do a number value if you'd like. Then do cash.parent equals Leaderstats. Do cash.name, and then whatever you're going to name it. So for me, it's going to be cash. Now, we're probably going to have another currency very soon. So for my currency, it's going to be gems. So we can do local gems equals instance.new. We can do a number value again. Then gems.parent is equal to the Leaderstats folder. And then our name. So gems.name is equal to gems. Now let's test to make sure this works. Oh wait, we have to add a value. So how much do you want your player, how much cash and gems do you want your player to have when they join? So you could do something like cash.value is equal to 0. Paste that down here, rename it to gems. Gems.value is equal to 0. Now that we have that, it should work as so. If this doesn't work, then try and make sure that you did everything correctly. If it still doesn't work, join our community server. Now that we have some stats, we need to make a way so the player earns cash consecutively. So below our handlers, so below our cash and gems, do a while true do statement. So type as I go. While true do. So while this is true, while all this is running, do task.wait 1 second, or however long you'd like it to be, and then do cash.value, or whatever your currency is called, plus equals to 1. Now this should give us cash every second. When we join, we see that we are earning cash every single second. Now right now, stats do not save, but in the next episode, I will show you guys how to save your statistics or your currencies. Now that our players are making passive income, I think they need a way to get more passive income and other upgrades. So let's make an upgrade system. First, we need an upgrade platform or board so they can buy upgrades. So let's make that really quick. Now that you have your upgrade board, you need to make the UI. As you can see from my upgrade board, I made it a little bit different and added an outline. If you want something like this, just add a highlight into your upgrade board. Remove this by scrolling down in Properties, which if you don't have open, go to View, and then Properties, which you can then open. Then scroll down to Fill Transparency, set it to 1, scroll down a bit more, and change the outline color to your liking. Once you've done all that, you can have an outline like mine. Now that we've done that, let's go into Storage UI and add a Surface GUI. This will be all of our displays, like our frame buttons, our frame information, all of that. It'll be stored on this part. So before we continue, let's go into the properties again of the Surface UI, look up Adorny, click on the blank spot, and then hover over your part. Now everything that you create here will go into the part. Let's first rename this to something like Upgrade Board UI, or something that you like and are comfortable with. Now that we've done all that, let's add Scrolling Frame UI to our Surface UI. So click on the plus, look up Scrolling Frame, and enter. Now, before we do anything, we have to increase the size of the scrolling frame. So this is different for everyone's part, but for me, I'm going to quickly do it by looking up the size property and the position property. Now that we've added our scrolling frame, we can successfully add upgrades now. Now, you may see this bar at the top, that is a scrolling bar. If you don't want it, then simply look up transparency inside the scrolling frame properties, and then remove the scrolling, or set the scroll bar image transparency to 1. Now me personally, I'm going to keep it for now, but I may change that in the future. Now, the first thing we want is a title, so players know what this is. So insert a text label into your scrolling frame. You can see it's sideways, so what we want to do is actually go into the rotation property for the text label and set it to 90. Once we've done that, we want to resize it and change its position again. Now that you've resized it and positioned it to the correct spot, you're going to want to make it your own. So let's change the properties like the text, the font, and the color. So first, look up the text property inside the text label and change the text to something like upgrades. Now, you of course can change it to any name you like, but I feel like this is the basic name. Now let's scale that text so it fits the whole entire box. After that, change your text color. So I'm going to change mine to white, and I'm going to add a stroke to it, which you can do by clicking on the plus button next to the text label and adding a UI stroke. Let's edit that, make it a bit better. And lastly, let's change the font. I personally like Fredoka 1, but you guys can do any font you'd like. Once we've done that, let's remove the background transparency so it's cleaner and doesn't interfere with any other future things. After all that, if you'd like, you can rename the text label to title so you can organize your scrolling frame. Now that we've got the basics down, let's insert our first frame. By doing this, insert a frame from inside the scrolling frame. Now remember, those are two different things, so make sure you click the correct one. Once you've done that, we have to resize it to a reasonable size. Now for this one, do not cover the whole entire thing, make it into small chunks, because I think we're going to have 3 frames right here for 3 upgrades. So make sure you are cautious and you are aware of how big they are. Now that you've got it at the correct area, change the background color to something nice. Now, if you didn't do this or you already did, then just wait. I'm going to personally change mine to a just lighter white for now, and then I'm also going to add a UI corner and a stroke again. For that, let's alter the corner. I'm going to change it to 12 on the right number and 0.005 on the left number. Now let's add that stroke. Sometimes when the stroke is too small, it does this weird glitch out thing, or sometimes just above. But right now, it seems pretty good, so I'm going to leave it at 2.25. Now that we've got our first frame, let's insert some text. Oh, and we ran into another issue where it's sideways again, so all we have to do is change the rotation of this text label to 90. Now, this is going to be the title of the frame or upgrade name, so let's move it to the top of this frame here. Once you've gotten the correct spot, let's change the text. Now, for this upgrade, let's name it Passive Income Boost, because that's what it's going to be. Then let's scale the text, change the text color to your liking, add a stroke if you'd like, change the stroke properties, and then of course, remove the background transparency, unless you'd like to keep it. Oh, and we forgot one thing, change the font, if you'd like, of course. Once you've done that, you may run into an error like this, where it's a bit too small, so I'm just going to increase this to 100, and that is the incorrect one. It's this one, and now we fix that. So let's now make an info. But first, let's rename this title, so we know what it is. Now, you can either create a new text label, or you can just duplicate this one, and rename it to info. Then you can just change the position and size to your liking. Now that you've made it to your liking, and you've changed the text to what it should be, let's do the next thing, which is create the button. Insert a text button, or if you're feeling fancy, an image button. Then again, it is rotated incorrectly, so set the rotation to 90. And let's resize it and reposition it. Now that we've resized and repositioned it, let's change all the information. So from button, you can do buy, put the little 2 dots, space, and you just put X, cash, or whatever your main currency is. Then let's scale it, change the color if you'd like, or keep it, add a stroke if you'd like, recolor and just change the stroke, and of course, last but not least, change the background color. Now I'm just going to keep it as red as the placeholder, but in the future it will change between red and green. If you'd like to have a border stroke as well, then just duplicate the stroke, UI stroke, and then change apply stroke mode from contextual to border. Now it seems like that didn't work, so let's try and increase the stroke size. Oh, I see the issue. I didn't make it black, it was that way. There we go. Now that is a little bit too small for me, so I'm going to increase the thickness. Now last but not least, let's add a UI corner to give it a little bit of depth or perspective, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. And last but not least, we want the players to see how many of this upgrade they have. So let's insert another text label or duplicate a previous one. But before we do that, let's rename this button to something like purchase. Now let's duplicate info, reposition it to the bottom, and maybe increase the size. Now if you're unaware on how to lower it below 0, all you have to do is add a little negative or a little minus before the number. If you don't do this, then you really won't be able to lower it anymore, so make sure you do this correctly, or else you'll be stuck at 0, and it may overlap like this. So now let's just set it to -50 again, and boom. Actually, we're going to make it a little bit lower. Let's make it -75. And now after that, you can just set the text right now to x/x. So in the future, it'll show like 5 out of 20, or however much upgrades is the max and however many you buy. And before we go on to actually making this work, let's rename the frame to something like passive income UPG, or upgrade for short. You can personally name it however you'd like, but that's the most understanding for me. Now that we have our UI done, we need a way to actually purchase the upgrade. So we need to make another Leaderstats, but instead of calling it Leaderstats, we're going to call it upgrades. So what you want to do is just duplicate the script, the Leaderstats script, insert a script service, and rename it to upgrades. Then open up the upgrade script, and you want to remove this while true do statement, and also remove this end right here. Not the end of the parenthesis, but with just nothing. Once you've done that, go all the way up to the local Leaderstats, and rename Leaderstats to upgrades. Now, what you can do to make this easier on you is do Control F, which opens this thing up, click the arrow, then in the find text box, type in Leaderstats, in the replace text box, type in upgrades. Now just click this AB button, click it a few times, and now everything is how it should be. Now you want to do the same thing for cash, rename it to passive income. Then you can do the thing I showed you, or you can just do it manually. And you can also change this to an int value, since it's going to be going up by 1, not by 0.125 or anything like that. You can also change its name to passive income. For now, we don't need any more upgrades, so we can remove the local gems and everything that's gem related. And now, when you play the game, go into players, your player, you should have an upgrades folder with a passive income int value, and the value should equal 0. Now that we have that done, we need to script the button. So let's go back into our screen GUI, or our surface GUI, open our scrolling frame, go to our frame, click on the purchase, and insert a local script. Rename this local script to something like purchase handler if you'd like. If not, then that's fine. Now let's create a player variable. Now let's create the button variable. Now what these two variables does is the first one, player, is the local player or the player that's clicking the button. The second one is the button itself, which is script.parent, which in this case would be the button. Now what we need to do is actually input the cash and the passive income upgrade. So let's do local Leaderstats equals player, wait for child, quotations, Leaderstats, and make sure this is lowercase if you lowercased yours. Next thing you want to do, local cash equals Leaderstats, wait for child, cash. Make sure it's capitalized correctly as it is in the name. So for instance, if we go back to our Leaderstats, you can see my C in cash is capital, so you want to do it here as well. Now let's do local upgrades equals player, wait for child. There we go, upgrades. Now for this one, it is capital. If you did not capitalize it, then it'd be a lowercase u. But for me, it's going to be capital. And then you can do local upgrade, because we're going to have multiple upgrades, so it'd be a hassle to rename this variable multiple times. But just do local upgrade equals upgrades, wait for child, passive income. Now that we have all these jotted down, we're actually going to want to input something else, which is this guy right here. This is going to be our amount. Now I actually kept this as info. We're going to want to rename it to AMT or AMT capitalized, however you want it. Just make sure you remember how you named it. This seems a little centered, I'll fix that later, or uncentered. Go back into your purchase handler script, then below all these other variables, do local amount text equal to script.parent wait for child AMT, or whatever your amount text is called. Now that we've done all that, we're actually going to want our price variables. Now I'm going to want this to be easy for you guys, so you guys can change this much easier. So what we're going to do is inside our passive income upgrade, we're going to want to insert a number value. Name this the base price. Duplicate that. Rename it the increment. Then duplicate that and rename it max upgrades. Now select all of these at the same time by holding down Control and clicking each one, then right click and then click group as folder. Now you can name these something like configuration, something like that. And now what you want to do is you want to set the base price, so how much cash it'll cost for the first upgrade, to something reasonable, let's say 10. So now you can set the value to 10. Set the increment, that's how much it'll go up, that's how much the price will be, or how much it'll go up each time you purchase an upgrade. So I'm going to set mine to 5. And then max upgrades, you can set it to something like 50, for instance. And make sure that for max upgrades, it's not decimal, it's just a full number. But the reason we do it as number value is in case you guys might want to, let's say, change it to like 5.5. This allows you to do that. But anyways, now that we have these, we're going to want to create more variables. So do local configuration folder is equal to script.parent wait for child configuration. Then you want to do local base price is equal to configuration folder wait for child base price, and then you just want to do this for the rest of the number values. So then increment equals configuration folder, wait for child increment. Then you want to do local max upgrades equal to configuration folder, wait for child, max upgrades. Now you may be wondering, what is wait for child? Now, what you could do instead of wait for child is something I don't recommend, but you could just do configuration folder dot max upgrades, and this just instantly gets it. But in case your player has a slower device or just did not load this in time, in case they did not do that in time, then wait for child actually waits for this to load in, so it doesn't cause any errors. Now that we've got all our variables, let's actually put in a local function to update the amount text. So we can do local function update text, update AMT. That's what I'm going to call it. Enter. Then we're going to do amount text dot text is equal to, and then what you want to do is you want to do, let's see here, so we have our upgrade here, so upgrade dot value, put a parenthesis here. Okay, that is not what's supposed to happen. Upgrade dot value, okay, upgrade dot value out of max upgrades dot value. Now let's actually check to see if this works really quickly. So at the bottom of that, do update amount right here, like so. Click play. And it seems like we ran into an error. So let's find out what the issue is. It seems like it's how we're formatting this thing. So let's see what we can do. So guys, I actually found the issue. So what you want to do instead is upgrade. Make sure it's not upgrades, it's upgrade dot value. Then put 2 dots, space, quotations, out of, then space out of the quotations, dot dot, max upgrades dot value. Now let's try this again. Now we can see it works. It shows our max upgrades value, which was 50. And then since we own 0, it shows that we have 0 out of 50. Now we're actually going to remove this function for now. We're going to place it at the very bottom of the script later. But now let's go on to the next thing, which is another function. So let's put in local function update text. And this is actually going to update our button text right here. And it's also going to update our background color. So we're going to just call it update button instead. So we're going to do if upgrade dot value is greater than or equal to max upgrades dot value, then we're going to do button dot text, so the text inside the purchase button, and that is a property. So right now it would be by xcash. So we're going to make it equal to max upgrades reached, or whatever you want the text to say when a player has max upgrades. And I'm going to put an exclamation point at the end. And then you also want to do button dot background color 3 equals color 3 dot new, and then click on this little color wheel thing here, and then you want to just change it to red, or if you want to make it yellow or something like that, that is completely up to you, but I'm going to make it red. Now that we've done that, it automatically inserts the color number, and then we are going to do an else if statement. So if this does not meet the requirement, then it'll go on to the next statement, which is else if upgrade dot value is less than max upgrades dot value, and cash dot value is greater than or equal to base price plus, then you want to do parentheses, max upgrades dot value, wait, no, don't do that, increment dot value times upgrade dot value. Now what this does is it adds the base price, and then inside the parentheses it will do the increment, which for me is 5, and then whatever your upgrade value is. So if it's 2, then that would be 10 plus whatever your base price is, and that's the price. So if it's greater than the price, then it's going to make the text button dot text is equal to cost. So just put cost, then put the two dots again. You want to put the... Actually, we're going to do something else, and I apologize, but you're going to want to go up here, do local cost, which is going to be the price. So actually, local price is equal to base price dot value, or base price plus this. So just copy all this in here, and then you want to do, instead of all this, delete that, and do and cash dot value is greater than or equal to cost. Now you may be asking, or price, my bad. You may be asking, why are we doing this? This is because in the past I've actually experienced bugs where it calculates it twice and then it messes up the pricing, and sometimes it double charges you. So this eliminates that bug and also any other bugs that I may not know of. So now we can do button.text is equal to cost dot dot. We're going to do price and then dot dot again, cash. So the reason why we put these two dots, it just is telling the script that this is going after text and it's also going before text, if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, that's fine. I may do a further detailed video in the future, but for now, just leave it like this. Then you want to do button.background color 3 is equal to color3.new, color wheel, change it to a green you like or any other color you'd like. There you go. And then last but not least, else if upgrade.value is less than max upgrades dot value and cash.value is actually less than price. So this is if you are unable to afford the upgrade. Then button.text is equal to cost. We're basically just doing the same thing. Price dot dot cash, but then instead of it being green, we're going to make it a red, indicating that you cannot afford it. So let's do that really quickly. Color3.new, color wheel, red, boom. And just like that, you can now update your button text. Let's see if it works. We're going to do update button and update amount so it loads properly. Okay, it seems like we ran into an issue. Players.cappymario7.playerGUI.upgrade billboard UI, scrolling frame, passive income, purchase and other. Attempt to perform arithmetic add on instance and number. So it seems like it's talking about our price variable right here. So let's actually look at the issue. So we do local price is equal to base price. Oh, I see the problem here. We are not doing it correctly. Base price is just the name. We did not put the value. So you actually want to add dot value to base price. And now if we try again, everything is working correctly. It shows we cannot afford it. Now, we actually did not add a thing to see when the cash value updates, it changes. So let's actually do that really quickly. But before we do that, I'm going to quickly change this font because I do not like this font. So let's change this font here if you'd like. I'm going to change it to Fredoka 1, and we can now continue. But let's now do a function, or not a function, but cache.change connect update button, and then you want to do upgrade.changed connect update amount. So now when your cache changes and your upgrade value changes, it will update the amount of how much you own, and it'll update the price and slash or if you can afford it or not. Now that we've done all the functions to update text and backgrounds and etc., let's actually do the actual purchasing function. So you want to go down maybe one or two lines, do button.mouse button one click connect function. Make sure you remove this parenthesis and replace it with a parenthesis like that. So parenthesis, parenthesis, click enter. And this is the funnish part. So you want to do if upgrade.value is less than max upgrades.value and cash.value is greater than or equal to price, then we actually want to go into replicated storage here. So right here, replicated storage in your Explorer. And I'm sorry, but if you didn't have Explorer open for this whole time, then it's right here, Explorer, Alt X, okay? Just open it right there. Click the plus button, remote event, and I don't know why I went there, but remote event, rename it to something like purchase passive income. We can put it into a folder later, but now we actually want to scroll back up here. Go here, local event equals game dot replicate storage wait for child purchase passive income. Then we want to do a, let's see here, want to go purchase for event fire server. Okay, so just like that, event fire server. And then what we want to do is we want to go into server script service, input a script. At the very top, add in a variable, local event equals game dot replicate storage, wait for child, purchase passive income. Then you want to do event dot on server event connect function. And we're gonna add a little bit of anti-cheat, not really anti-cheat, but just to make sure people aren't cheating. So I guess it is anti-cheat. We're going to add some variables. So local base price is equal to, of course. Okay, we're actually going to, let's see here. How can we do this? I need to think. Okay, what you want to do, select all of these here in your configuration folder. Click copy or Control C, like that. Then you want to hover over your script that you just created. Click paste into or Control Shift V. And now you have all your information here. So you can do local base price equal to script wait for child base price. And then just do that to all the other variables. Local increment equal to script wait for child increment. And then last but not least, local max upgrades is equal to script wait for child max upgrades. Now that you've done all that, create the cost variable as well, or price is equal to, I'm actually just going to go back into here and copy the price format. You guys should probably do that too. And I just remembered we do not have our upgrade variable yet. So let's go back into our other script, copy this snippet of code right here, as well as our other snippet of code, which shows us our leader stats and cache. And one more thing I forgot. Inside this little function bracket here, type in player. This allows the server to get the player that fired the event, or for simpler terms, purchased the upgrade, or click the button to purchase the upgrade. So now that we have all that, we can do this if cache, well first if upgrade dot value is less than max upgrades dot value and cache dot value is greater than or equal to price, then upgrade dot value is plus equal to 1. Now let's try this all out and see if it works. Okay, so far no errors. We wait here. We see this is all smudged together. We can actually fix that in a second. See, okay, we actually have an error here. It does not fix or update this, so I will actually fix that in a bit. But let's click purchase. But first, let's open up our upgrades. Click on passive income. See if it changes. It did indeed change, but we do have an issue. It is not correctly updating this text, so let's fix that. So let's go into here. We see cache.changed connect update button, and then upgrade.changed connect update amount. So let's actually go below those and just do update button and do update amount, and let's see if that fixes the error. Let's go back over here. We can see that does fix one of the errors, and I just realized this is unanchored, so we're actually going to fix that as well. But we can now purchase this. It still is not changing, so I think we have to fix something inside the script. Let's see. Okay, I see the issue here, which is this. We have to change the price. Now, I don't understand why it's not getting the price, but I could have a suspicion of why. So what we're gonna do is we're actually going to make this a function. So local function get price, and then we're just gonna do price is equal to base price dot value. So then we're gonna want to go in here, just do get price, and then you actually, let's just not do that for that one, let's do it for this one as well. And then at the very bottom, let's try get price. So then this should fix this, I hope, and if it doesn't, then I'll try and find another fix. But we see, okay, it's 10 because it's the starting. We wait for it to get our cash. See, it shows 0 out of 50. Let's purchase it. Okay, we can see it did successfully change, so it did go up by 5, just like my increment should. Okay, does seem to not do it on time, like it is taking a bit to actually change the color of the text. So let's try and fix that. Now, how can we fix this? That's what I'm thinking. Actually, guys, give me 1 second, I'll be right back and I'll give you guys a fix. Okay, everyone, sorry for the delay, but I'm going to give you guys a fix now. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new variable here called cooldown. So local cooldown is equal to false. So this is actually going to be a Boolean value, which is just true or false. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to do down here in our script, if upgrade.value is less than or equal to yada yada yada, we're going to do another and statement, and cooldown is equal to false, then equals false, then fire the server. While this cooldown is on true, we're going to make it so the background is yellow. So how we can do this is actually, when this is clicked, we're going to want to first change the cooldown to true, equal to true. So cooldown equals true. Then we're going to do a task dot wait point, let's do 0.3, maybe 0.4, cooldown equals false. Now at the very top of this update button, before we do any of this, we're going to do an if statement. So if cooldown is equal to true, then we're going to do we're going to copy this, we can copy this snippet. We can just put or we're actually just going to put the cost as the cost. Actually, no, we're going to do custom. Okay, so if it's cooldown equal true, then if upgrade.value, we're actually going to just copy this snippet right here. Then I'm going to copy this snippet right here. Max upgrades reached, but then we're going to want to change the color to a yellow. Make sure you save this color so we can use it again. Do an else if, and then we're going to copy a snippet right here. If upgrade, we're just going to do else if upgrade.value is less than max upgrades.value, then we're just going to do button.background color that, go down one, and then button.text, put that right here. And actually at the very top of this, we're going to do get price right here, just like that. So now all of this should work as it should. So let's go here, into here, then wait a second, wait, keep waiting, keep waiting, keep waiting, keep waiting, and purchase. We can now see it updates accordingly, which is actually a good thing. Yes, very good. All right. Now it doesn't seem to work fully correctly, so this may actually be useless, but it seemed to fix our problem. Now, before we continue and actually make the upgrade work, let's fix a few things. One, if you didn't already, anchor your board. I'm surprised I forgot this far into the tutorial, but you know, it is how it is. But next thing we want to do is fix our cost, because you can see our cost here is not very smudged together. but inside the actual game it is. So what we do, scroll down here to the cost for each one, put a space here in front of the little 2 dots, and then put a space behind the cash, and do the same for the other else if statement. Now once you've done that, and right here as well, but once you've done that, you should successfully have a non-smushed button just like that. And now we can add some other things. Now, I don't know about you, but this game is actually pretty quiet right now. Now, we don't have to add music this episode, but let's at least add something so when the player tries to buy it, if you can't buy it, then we're going to make a little sound. So let's go into our toolbox here. If you don't have that open, click on Toolbox right next to Properties. Then make sure you're in the Audio section. Usually I don't want to use Toolbox, but for audios I think it's fine unless you're an audio maker or had someone make audios for you. Let's look up incorrect, and just play through the sounds. For you it'll be muted, but you can hear the sounds yourself. I'm going to insert this one, made by Mr. Homer Mafia 1, thank you. But we're going to click insert, and then incorrect sound effect. Let's just click that we can rename it to like buzzer or wrong. And then once you've named it accordingly, go and look up for the parent property, click on it, and then click on sound service. Now that should have put it in the correct area, but for me it did not. So I'm just going to drag it manually into sound service, which still did not work. So once you've renamed and chosen your sound, drag it into the sound service, and then go back into your purchase handler script, and then go down to the red one. So let's say this one right here. Actually, let's first add another variable at the very top. Local sound is equal to game.soundService, wait for child wrong, or whatever the name is. Then go down here to where, let's say, max upgrades reached is. And then let's say we're actually going to add another variable here. So right here, if all this is met, then, usually fires the server, which means it purchases the upgrade. But we're going to add an else statement. And this just means if these requirements are not met, then click or type in sound, 2 dots, play. Now let's see if this works. Now for me, or for you, you cannot hear it, but for me, I can hear it just well, and it's working correctly. Now when I purchase it, it works. Now, if you guys want to, this is optional, but you can add a click sound for when you purchase it successfully. I'm going to add this little beep sound made by Pen Media. Thank you to them. I'm going to put it into sound service. I'm going to rename it click. I'm going to name it local click equals game.soundService, wait for child click. Once you've done that, scroll down to the button.mousebutton one click function. Go right here below the requirements, enter. Before all the cooldowns and stuff, do click play. Now when you purchase it successfully, right now I cannot purchase it successfully, so it is doing this. But when I wait a bit, wait for the cash to come in, just wait a few more seconds, it successfully purchases it, and it makes that cool sound. Now, one more thing I want to add, this is to prevent people from getting multiple upgrades for free, but one thing you want to add is if cooldown equal true, then you want to actually do something down here where, I'm sorry, I'm losing words right now, but okay guys, what we're going to do is add another function called local function cooldown check. Inside this function, we're going to do if cooldown equal true, then button.interactable equals false. What this does is if the button is currently on cooldown, then the player cannot interact with the button, so they cannot purchase anything for that time. This prevents people from spamming the button and getting free upgrades, and also maybe putting them in negative money. Then you want to put else if cooldown equal false, then button.interactable equals true. Now let's actually go down here to the button.mouseButton one click connect function, and then above all of this, even above the requirements, you want to do cooldown check. So now this will ensure that the player cannot spam it or anything like that. Let's test it out. Right now, cannot purchase. I'm hearing the wrong sound. Wait a few seconds and purchase, and alright, seems like it works. So yeah, now we'll have the final steps to make this work, actually making the upgrade work. So let's do that. But before we do that, let's actually rename this script to something else, because I don't want it to just be script. So let's rename it to passive income purchase. You can rename it something shorter if you'd like, but that's what I'm going to rename it. Then group it as a folder and rename the folder to something like upgrade purchases. And let's do the same in replicate storage. So purchase passive income, let's group that as a folder and click and rename it to upgrade events. And something you need to do now is go back into your server script and change this top script variable to game.replicate storage wait for child, upgrade events, wait for child, purchase passive income. And then do that same thing, so copy this piece of code into your script inside your scrolling frame, the purchase handler, go here, the event, paste the code you just copied, and boom, just like that, it should work as so. See, no errors, nothing like that, and it should work. Now, let's actually make it work. So let's go into our Leaderstats script, and then let's do while true do local, actually let's see if our player, okay, local upgrade equals player wait for child upgrades wait for child passive income. Then you want to do local payout is equal to 1 plus upgrade value times 1. So that will increase. So if I own 2 of these, then it'll do times 2. So 1 plus 2 is 3. So I'll get 3 every second. So then change the cash.value plus equals 1 to cash.value plus equals payout. Now let's try it out. Okay, let's just give it a few seconds. I would usually, cheat my way, but it's too much of a hassle for such a short amount of time. So boom. Now if we purchase this, you see that we're now earning 2 per second instead of 1. Now we can just continue upgrading our empire, just continue getting richer, but it seems like we've encountered a problem. It's not subtracting our money. So let's find out why. Now, the thing I love about scripting is that you can always find room for improvement, and you can always use your critical thinking skills. Now, I sound like a teacher right now, so I'm going to stop talking. But anyways, we're going to go down here. Our upgrade events, that is correct. Our purchase passive income event, that is correct. So it seems like it's something to do with the server, because that's the only logical thing, right? So let's go into our upgrades purchases event. Purchase passive income, that is correct. And let's see. So it seems like the issue is we were never subtracting any money, which is the reason why it wasn't working earlier with the cooldown thing. So let's actually do something here where we can change the cash.value to minus equal the price. So now, if we go back into play and we wait a few seconds, I do apologize for this wait, it is a bit of a wait, but it's definitely worth it. Just give it a few seconds and purchase. It now subtracts our money and we are now earning more. Alright, so now we can actually fix something earlier, which was the yellow background. Now, I do apologize that was a waste of time for you, but let's actually remove this if cooldown statement. We're going to actually just move that here. And now that is back to normal. But we still want to keep the cooldown value and this cooldown check because it prevents the player from spamming. Now, before we end off part 1 of this making an incremental series tutorial, there's one thing we need, and that's a map. Now, if you're like me, you have no idea how to build and literally use tutorials on building, then you might need this asset pack. This asset pack was made completely by me and even contains some assets used in Leaf Incremental. That's right, Leaf Incremental, our game with over 10,000 visits and a revenue of thousands of Robux. So if you're interested in getting this pack, it's currently on sale on my Clearly Dev website, and you can get it now in the link down below. Again, if you want it, it's in my Clearly Dev website, link down below. Shameless plug, I know, but let's build this map. And after 5 minutes of hard work, my map is done. While it's not the best, it definitely spices things up and makes the world look so much better. Thank you all for watching part 1 of this tutorial. If you want to see more of this, then make sure to comment down below that you want more. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and do all the other things that makes me lots of money. Alright? In the next episode, we'll be doing sound effects, we'll be doing lighting, we'll be doing probably rebirths, more upgrades, lots of other stuff, probably data store as well. So make sure you stay tuned, make sure you like the video, try out Leaf Incremental if you'd like, and yeah, if you want, go to my Clearly Dev shop as well. I'm going to start putting more assets out for you guys. High quality, low price. Yeah, so thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.